A few days ago, I noticed down the street somebody had thrown out a wood chair. It had the arm was broke, and it's something that I most likely could have easily fixed. But what I saw was a pile of scrap wood. Kind of wish that I took a picture of it beforehand, but I've already taken it apart. These slats right here, I'm going to use these, and I'm probably going to take a couple of these pieces and mill them down, and I'm going to make a spice rack. I'll probably do some other projects with what's left, but to start with, I'm just going to improvise and throw something together. Well, let's see how it goes. Got kind of a general idea of what I want to do. I want to use this space in my kitchen. One piece of information that would probably be good to know is how many of these spice bottles would fit into this space. Looks like about 9 will fit very snugly into that spot. Might want to go with just 8 though. So I'll have to figure out the general width of 8 of these because they're all about the same size. To get started with the spice rack, I'm going to sand these down and try to sand the stain or weather or whatever this is off of them. So my original plan was to use these boards that I sanded as shelves, and then I was going to use one of the arm pieces of the chair and mill it down and use that as the side. I'd like to build a sled for my table saw, and that might let me, but until I do that, until I have the supplies to do that, that's not going to work. So I've changed, and I'm going to use these slats, which were the back of the chair. They're slightly thicker than the bottom ones. It's time to cut the ends off of these to get rid of these screw holes. Got one end cut off. And what I'm going to do now, I took 8 spices and I laid them on the end and I measured them, and it comes out to about 14.5 inches. So I figured I'm going to make this wide enough for about 8 spices per shelf, 8 of the standard bottle sizes. I'm going to cut these at 15 inches just to give a little wiggle room, and I'm going to cut 3 of these for the shelf. Now the reason I'm only cutting 3 boards to 15 inch, those are going to be the shelves. Let's just imagine that these are the sides. These are going to be the shelves with spices go on. Well, the other 3 boards are I'm going to cut them lengthwise about in half and glue them to the front or attach them to the front as a lip. But I'm also going to want to cut them at about 1 inch wider because I want them to lay over the side boards. Set my fence up to 15. I'm going to set the fence over to 16. Now what I need to do is rip these about in half because I don't really want that big of a lip on the front. Got sort of a mock-up here. I want a piece to go across the bottom underneath that to put some hooks on so I can hang stuff, and then one more somewhere across the top to have some way to hang it. The height from the table to about the top of this is 14 3/4 inches, and these boards are about 2 inches long. So 14 3/4 plus 2 plus 2 is 18 3/4, and I'm just going to cut it at 19. Just make it even 19. I'm going to chop off the part with the screw holes in it. Now that I've cut one end off clean, I've set the fence up. I'm gonna double check it. Right at 19. Not quite long enough to miss both the holes, but I'll still make do. I'm gonna add two more to the spice rack. One at the bottom to put some hooks on, and then another one at the top to be able to hang it. Now I've got the sides cut, front and the back piece cut. I'm gonna need to hook up the sander and do some more sanding. Took one of the side pieces, and the camera may not pick it up as well, but I made marks where I want the different boards to go. I've got marked off the 3 shelves. Got the top backing piece and then the bottom part that's gonna hold measuring cups and stuff. I take the two together. The idea being is I'm gonna drill a couple of holes where each board should go, and I'm going to screw these together using the same screws that came out of the chair. I'm using my right angle clamps to kind of hold this together. I've got this board clamped up and lined up with the holes. Drilling the holes because you don't want the wood to crack. And with this wood, I don't know how old it is, probably would crack a little too easy. Trying to line these up. So I've just about got it done. I've got the framework put together, and now it's a matter of putting these little lips on the front to keep the spices from hanging out. I was originally going to put it so that the bottom was flush, but then that adding a screw would bump into these screws, so I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. Got a board clamped on one side to help keep this flat and level. Use this piece of wood as a spacer to help hold it. One down. Let's run a little test to make sure this is against the wall. We can still easily put that in there. Now the other thing I wanted to do is put some hooks down here to hang measuring cups. Just happen to have some mug hooks that I bought. I don't even remember when. And I thought, well, I could use those. And I originally thought I'd put something here and hang it, but if I do that, I might have a hard time getting anything on there. So what I'm gonna do instead is hang them down this way. In the interest of being even, I used my ruler to kind of split this length in half and make a mark, and then about halfway between that, so that the 3 hooks will be evenly spaced. A couple of nails later, and there we are. And here we have the final result. I think it turned out fairly nicely. I've left the wood bare for now. I might come back later and stain it or paint it. I haven't quite decided. If I had it to do all over again, one thing that I would do differently, instead of cutting this board short enough to fit in between the sides, I would have cut it longer to put on the back and then put a couple more of these strips along the back. Because this fits, but it doesn't sit flat. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but that's one thing I would do differently. I'll put a link down below where you can see a little hand sketch of plans for this and the length and size of the boards. Forgive my writing, I don't have the steadiest hand. This is a good use of scrap wood. I love being able to reclaim things to instead of throwing out, to make it useful for something else. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and stay creative.